as it kind of continues to move towards Marion, Kentucky. So I told you to go to your safe spot earlier. It wouldn't come out quite yet. We want a couple more updates to make sure that this is continuing to show less and less signs of circulation before I want to give you the all clear there.
Yeah, it's good that it's the sign that it is weakening, so that is definitely some great news. We got some video behind me there in the upper right-hand corner. Oh, that's live, and this is in Paducah, near the Chick-fil-A, where a power pole has been snapped. I'm not sure if this was which storm caused this. We've had 3 storms that moved through the same area, but we did have video earlier of that tornado as well that moved through the Paducah area. It showed a very classic supercell tornado type structure, but very little lightning coming out of it, as we said. You can see some of these power lines knocked down, street signs at an angle. So it looks like this area may have taken a glancing blow from some strong winds, and hopefully not too bad in this area, but I do know we do have some areas where there's more significant damage across the heartland. Let's head back to Max 1, because we are tracking a tornado warning now still for Graves County. We haven't had any updates with it. We may be seeing things improve with the storm that prompted the tornado warning, but we've got more storms developing to the south. So I want to kind of just go up and down this line. No, there's still that circulation right there in northern Graves County. It's weak, but it's still there, and it's converging because the radar's over here, wind's coming towards and away. It's a lot weaker as it's crossed Highway 45 north of Mayfield, Kentucky. That's the northern side, the northern part of Graves County. There we were talking about Highway 45 south of Mayfield earlier, that circulation would stay well to the north, and it has. We're going to pan up a little bit farther because we have some other storms that we're monitoring that continue to strengthen, that show signs of keeping a close eye on. One here to the southeast of Paducah. We'll take a look at the winds in there, just converging gust front, no tornadoes on that one. So that is fantastic news. Let's go back up to the storm a little farther north. That was behind the storm headed towards Salem. This is this one right here, and we'll take a look at the winds inside it because I'm a little concerned with this area right here. So far, behaving, but very strong downburst winds on the back side of that storm over Smithland right now. You're probably seeing very strong gusty winds. And the storm that we were tracking through Salem has now moved, is closer to Marion now. And as Wibbs was saying, the actual circulation weakened just a bit at the mid-levels, and at the surface as well, we're not seeing much. It's a little bit right. Let me see if that lines up with the inflows of the storm. Not really, so that's just kind of gusty wind. So the storm that was headed towards Salem and Marion, that is the circulation at least looks a little weaker. The storm that is moving out of Graves County, the rotation is a little weaker, but it is looking intense on radar still. And we've got another storm that is in eastern Hickman County that is developing, and a storm in Obion County that we're watching very closely as well. Do we have any more reports from the damage on the scene? Can Kathy, you got any more idea of what's been reported?
Yeah, Grant, as you're covering what's going on right now, we've got crews in the field and you, the viewer, helping us tell the story of the damage left behind. If we can take a look at some of the video and the pictures we've got in, I want to let you know that right now, Emergency Management and the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet are asking everyone to avoid western McCracken County and southwestern Valley County for, they say, at least the remainder of the day. That's how much damage they're dealing with there right now. They say they've got crews out, utility crews, area fire departments, and rescue squads out clearing utility lines, down trees, debris, again, from that apparent tornado. Can we take some of that video that we've got, viewer video of what we believe is this tornado that went through McCracken County earlier this morning? There we go. Again, this is sent in by Jared Borum. As we look at that, there's so many crews out right now trying to clear away that debris and that damage. As for power outages right now, we're told that there are about 2,400 homes in McCracken County and about 2,500 homes in Valley County. Take a look here, that are currently without power. So again, we're talking about that western side of McCracken County as you cross over into Valley County. That's really where the concentration, it sounds like, of a lot of the damage, and the power outage is located. Let's go to Taylor Clark right now, who I believe is still in that area near the Kentucky Oaks Mall. Taylor, what you got?
Well, Carly, from right here behind me, we've been talking a lot about how these businesses are out of power around the mall in the area. This is why. There's a pole right down left. I'm leaning on the side right here. Right behind this truck, right in the path, and you'll be able to see this other one that's cracked completely at its base. Putting out all the traffic lights is causing a few complications. In fact, the only one that I've seen working since I got here for duty is that one way down there in front of that Chick-fil-A. Coincidentally enough, that Chick-fil-A is actually the only place that I've seen have power too, and got a line out the door right now. So things are still very busy out here, helping them hold it down here. Police officers are trying to keep traffic under control while the traffic lights are still out. But all these businesses and this plaza right behind me too, completely out of power. Really, like I said, that Chick-fil-A is about it as far as its power needs go. But I'm going to keep on looking around at other stuff out here. Carly, is there anything else you want to know?
Hey, Taylor, it's actually Kathy here in the studio. We were just telling folks that emergency crews are asking people to stay away from that area, and you can really see why. You saw that big semi go past. How close was it to the power lines, would you say? Looked like the lines were hanging low enough that that semi could have actually clipped those lines as it went by.
Yeah, no. Here, look at this. Right here, these cars are blocking off this road completely. Over there, I saw a semi coming down, and police officers would not let him down. For that reason, I'm guessing, because they are leaning over into traffic, and it's not just the semis that they're not letting through, it's all cars in general.
Stay out of that area if you can. Again, it's an extremely busy area. Taylor, thank you. Extremely busy shopping area, work area, transportation area, very close to the interstate, but you can see why, and don't be surprised if police aren't stopping your vehicle if you have to go through that area, not letting you go through. Let's go to Kelsey now. Kelsey Anderson, who has been in the area of Lovelessville, Kentucky, around the 286-62 area. Wow, look at the damage behind you, Kelsey. Where are you and what's going on?
So I am right off of 62 and the crossroad right here is Fisher. I was over on Harris earlier, and there's a lot of damage. I'll be posting that on my Facebook as soon as I'm done here. But let me get behind the camera and kind of show you what we're looking at. So over here, that is Mount Zion Church. You can see most of that roof right there is gone. The top roof is gone. And then let me move over to here. And you can see the big grain bin in the middle of the road. That got blown over, and someone at the shop here behind me says that they were told that there was someone trapped under that grain bin earlier, so we don't know, what's going on with them now, if anyone is hurt or okay, or what's going on. But as I keep moving the camera this way, you can see down power lines. There's down power lines in the road down there. There's more right here. And I talked to someone in the shop behind me earlier, and he said, they were inside. They didn't have the shop, garage door open, and they saw the whole thing go right past them. He said it's a very scary experience, but they're just glad that it didn't, hit them.
Yeah, Kelsey, it looks like, is that whole area where I just saw Kentucky State Police cruiser go by, is that whole area blocked off to the public, to people who would normally drive through or maybe just want to check out the damage? Is it blocked off?
It is blocked off. If the roads aren't blocked, it's very hard to get to. I had to take a 15-mile detour to get around here, and I had to get clearance to get in with the news car and things like that. I had to tell them who I was. So this is not a place for people to come and just onlookers, look for us on air and on Facebook to see what's going on, because honestly it's not safe. Like I said, there's down power lines right next to me. They're trying to get people to not drive over them, walk near them, things like that.
Yeah, Kelsey, thank you. Please be safe yourself, and we can't stress enough how dangerous those areas are, whether you're in a vehicle or you think you want to run out and help your neighbor right now. Don't try to get into an area with down power lines, trees like that. Again, we can't stress enough how dangerous those areas are. Let's go back to Grant right now for the very latest on the storm still moving through parts of the heartland. Grant?
Yeah, we've got still that tornado wind out for Graves County, but it looks like, I think Brian just told me he was chatting with Weather Service, that is going to be allowed to expire. The storm that caused the warning has now moved out of Graves County, and we can kind of zoom into this area. Again, we're still not out of the woods, even if we go without a warning for just a little bit, because the atmosphere is very conducive for severe weather. This is the storm that prompted the tornado warning. And you can see we have other storms in Graves County, but this is the one that we were concerned with. I'm going to zoom in a little tighter And it still is doing that, it has that signature to where this looks like what we would call in the weather world a supercell thunderstorm, where the winds are hitting the backside of it, making that horseshoe shape, and then you may get a little bit of a spin up on the southeast side of that. And this is to the south of Paducah now, and this is extreme northern Graves County. I'm going to zoom in a little closer here, and we're going to take a look at the winds inside. It's now moving into extreme southeastern, McCracken County as well. And we're not seeing a tight circulation here right along with that Highway 131, but this is the storm that earlier did have that tornado warning out with it. And as we pan things out, when was that warning expiring? At 11:45, I think? Probably 11:45, I think.
But again, the Weather Service just said they're going to expire it, I guess, early. So it's still showing up on our system, but...
Well, usually when they send that expire out, it's just it's going to expire at the time that they're not going to continue it. So I'm thinking if it goes out until 11:15, or excuse me, 11:45, that warning will stay there until 11:45. Our other big storms are moving out of the area towards the Evansville, Indiana, but we still have some intense storms moving through parts of Crittenden County, Livingston County, going to head towards Marshall County and Lyon County here shortly. Caldwell and Callaway counties, you're not out of the woods yet. Again, we've got about another hour, I think, maybe hour and a half based on the speed that the actual line is drifting off to the east. And again, the individual storms are racing off to the northeast. So
that storm that's moving out of Hickman into Graves near the Water Valley area is looking a little stronger. This one has intensified a little bit. Again, that warning north, you're not officially under a warning, but this is going to track along Highway 45. And if I put on the winds inside there...
Yeah, it's getting a little tighter.
It's getting a little tighter. It's not necessarily saying for sure that there's a tornado there, but we're definitely seeing some rotation. And this is tighter than it's been. So this may be our next storm that will be warned. That will be moving towards the Wingo area. So just want to give you that first alert that that's where that storm is moving, and it's moving really quickly. So it would likely be in the Wingo area within the next 10 minutes, if not earlier, as it kind of hugs just north of Highway 45. So again, it's not warned. There's no warning for that storm, but that's the next storm that's kind of caught my eye that we're going to have to keep a really close eye on.
And if I look at that storm as well, this is what she's talking about, this storm right here. You notice what's off to the south and east. There's not a lot of interference rain-wise with it. We've got lots of storms moving over the same environment. A lot of times it's hard to get these storms to redevelop and form tornadoes, but again, the atmosphere is very conducive for tornadoes in Western Kentucky right now. So let's put the winds on, and we don't really see anything that strikes us, but this is a little eye-opening right there. It's not strong circulation, but that's with the same storm that had the tornado warning right here. It's crossing Interstate 24 right now. And we'll zoom in a little bit closer. You can see it's got that hook shape right here. Again, this was the tornado warned storm, and it currently does not have a tornado warning. It's moving out of Massac County and is moving into Marshall County. It's headed towards the Calvert City area and right along Highway or Interstate 24. So if this continues to, or if this does re-intensify, we may see another tornado warning issued here very, very shortly. Now, I want to pan down to the other storm that Laura was talking about, because that storm was showing a little tighter signs of rotation, and it's in a very favorable environment as it's moving into an area that has not had any thunderstorm activity in quite some time. This is the storm we're talking about right here that is headed, and again, based on this movement, it would move towards the Mayfield, Kentucky area and would be in Mayfield within 20 minutes probably. So if we take a look at the winds inside that storm, we're seeing the possibility of, there's very strong inflow coming in and some outbound. So we're seeing the possibility of rotation trying to develop in southwestern Graves County. I want to kind of zoom in just a little bit more on this and get an idea of who's under the immediate threat if something were to spin up very fast. And you can see Highway 239, Wingo's right here. Here's Highway 45 that she spoke of. Here's the core of the storm, but this is where the spin-up would occur. Right along, and again, this is what the radar shows, I guess is like what used to be old 45. You see this blue line? That's the actual parkway that's like, that's the big divided highway that I think is now 45. And that's, if you live close to that, that is where this rotation is developing right now. Let's kind of take a look at this on the velocity. Again, this is headed towards the tornado warning has just been canceled. But yeah, that's getting tighter, Laura and Brian, right there. You see that one little bright green pixel right next to the red. So we may be seeing a tornado warning issued here shortly. This is right along the 45 corridor, south and west of Wingo and south and west of Mayfield, Kentucky. No official warning out just yet.
I do have a track on that for those of you concerned about this storm like we are. Again, you're not under a warning, but just watch this storm closely with us.